What's up, everyone? Season ticket going live a day later than usual after we've survived Winter Storm Jonas. I am your host, Dan Hooley, along with my good friend Scott Schroff.
Hello.
Snow didn't stop the sports world 2 days ago when we found out just who will duke it out in Santa Clara, the Denver Broncos and the Carolina Panthers. But before that happened, two very interesting games. We'll start with the first one, Denver and New England, and I will start the show by announcing my great, honest joy in the fact that the Patriots have been thrown out. I have nothing against the Patriots. They didn't play a good game. Not Tom Brady.
Well,
anyway.
yeah, I mean, in reality, it was the better game of the weekend. There are only two games this weekend.
Yeah.
Better game to watch. And I have nothing against Tom Brady. I have nothing against Gronk. It's just that they're always there. And as we said before, give someone else a chance, even if it is Manning or the Broncos, who have been there a lot of times as well, but not in recent years. I mean, just calm down, Brady.
It's like it's like that kid who always wins a contest. Like, Jesus, let somebody else win.
Yeah, come on. You ever see that South Park episode where Bono has to win everything?
Exactly. That's what we're talking about.
If you watch that episode, it's very
if
vulgar.
If you have no idea what the fuck we're talking about, you have no idea. So we'll just move on. Speaking of Gronkowski, I think he still played a very good game.
Oh yeah, towards the end. Catching that about 40-yard pass.
As a Giants fan, I don't like the Patriots very much. And out of rivalry for the current game when they play the Giants, I don't like Gronk, but Jesus Christ, that man makes unbelievable catches.
There's no he's just so big. And it's not even like he's fast. He's just fast enough. But he's so big, it's just that no one can really contest him. The Broncos, at the end of that game, had to use three guys on him and interfered with the pass.
He still caught it.
No, the last one he didn't catch, but the one before that he did, and the one before that, they had to go to him every time.
I remember
these other guys
me and
Scott
were watching the game, especially towards the end, and it was fourth down. They had sacked Brady twice, and I said, "Just watch."
Those plays happen.
And I said, "Just watch." What happens every year? Tom Brady's going to float a bullshit pass 40 yards, and Gronk's going to jump up for it, and they're going to score a touchdown. And that's exactly what happened.
It happens every time. The only thing, they missed on the 2-point conversion, and I think everyone was happy with that. At least everyone that's from the New York area, at least. Yeah.
So, Patriots, sorry guys.
And that's to take nothing away from the Broncos' defense, because they had a great defense.
There was terrific defense in that game. They battered Brady.
Oh yeah, they killed Brady.
He got sacked a number of times.
19 quarterback hits on Brady. That was the most by any team against anyone in the season.
And towards the end of the game, they were sacking him on almost every play. They were hammering him.
It was really bad, and you could see Brady get frustrated throughout the game. He was scared the whole time. And then the one weird pass that he had, where he rolled out to the left and then was holding it in his hand, trying to throw it. He was just inaccurate. He was scared. And actually, due to the fact that he got 19 quarterbacks hits on him that game, they fired their offensive coordinator. And they were kind of we can't have that happen. Even if it is the player's fault, we got to do something to show that that's not going to happen again.
Yeah, they're we have to be great again. Somebody else winning, that doesn't happen in this league.
What is this? So they got to do something with that.
Well, moving on from, we're going on to the second game on Sunday. Carolina and Arizona, I think it's fair to call it Carolina's just practicing for the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's really pointless at this point.
I feel really bad. I wanted Arizona to go all the way, even though it was kind of a long shot. I felt like Larry Fitzgerald finally deserved a ring.
I had no confidence in Carson Palmer, and he gave me no reason to have any confidence in him.
You can take the quarterback out of Oakland, but you can't take the Oakland out of a quarterback.
It was really, there's no reason for his miscue. 4 interceptions in that game, that's ridiculous.
Terrible game he had.
Yeah, and
those 4 interceptions weren't the only turnovers. There were a number of fumbles.
Yeah, and
going on throughout the game.
Yeah, the only guy doing anything for the Cardinals was David Johnson.
David Johnson, honestly, I think he was the only man on that team that wanted to go to...
All I kept hearing, I would like...
He ran, he caught short pass. That man, his jersey was soiled.
He was
he fought for every yard. I give that man so much credit.
I like David Johnson.
If we could add him to the Carolina roster and have him go to the Super Bowl with them, he would deserve it 100%.
Oh, definitely. He was the only guy doing anything.
That man earned it. Whatever pay he's getting, he earned it.
And Cardinals defense, they're supposed to be pretty good. Carolina was just smoking them. Cam Newton was killing them. John Stewart
and that's something I want to talk
him.
about with Cam Newton. Now, I like the whole dab. I like the Superman. The Superman's my favorite.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest. I was watching the game, and after one of the touchdowns, when they were up like 25-7, Cam Newton was like doing a celebration. Okay, sure, but the camera pans out. The other teams are in their huddle. This man's still standing there. I like it, but calm down, man.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
not only are you kind of wasting time, but you're up by 3 touchdowns. It's okay.
Yeah,
it's over.
The thing that they say about him is at least he's consistent because he'll do that. He'll do that regardless of the situation, and whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, it doesn't really matter. He'll do it in the first week of season, up by 30. He'll do it when they're down. It doesn't matter, which is you can take that any way you want, but at least he's consistent about it, which is
my
something.
rule was I don't really think you should celebrate if you're up by a lot or down by a lot.
Up by a lot I can understand, but if you're down by a lot, just come on. Like fine, you can go hand the ball to a player in the stand, a kid in the stand. That's fine because that kid's gonna he's just gonna remember that he got a ball that day.
Yeah,
that's
let him forget that. But
let him forget the loss.
If it's like you got guys celebrating when you're winning like 31-0, like now you're just insulting them.
Yeah, and I love Cam Newton. He's one of the best players in this game. One of the most athletic players.
He's honestly one of the best quarterbacks I've seen in a while.
Yeah, the way that he plays his game is a lot different than a lot of quarterbacks. He just run like
he's just so.
It's a big man.
He's so casual with it. He'll just launch a pass, and then he has a terrific run game. He's pretty much a running back by himself.
Yeah, I remember someone said about Russell Wilson, he's a running back with a good arm. That's how I see Cam Newton. He's a running back with a good arm. But Cam Newton's a lot better pocket passer than Russell Wilson. Now they're both very good. But this Cam Newton guy. This Cam Newton fella. He's
really something.
And I think, going into the Super Bowl, while Manning has all the credentials and everything like this, Cam Newton is the better quarterback going into this.
Honestly, Manning is not the same quarterback.
No, but it's
been apparent all season, and it's been apparent in the playoffs. So, honestly, I think Carolina's going to be the heavy favorite.
Yeah, I would think Carolina would be the favorite, but the thing is, that's the reason because the Broncos dismantled the Patriots' offensive line, which they're not going to be able to do with the Panthers because the Panthers have a good offensive line. 2 of them are Pro Bowlers.
Right.
And then they got Michael Orr, the blindside guy on there. So, I don't know. It's definitely going to be a good game. It's very, I would say it's a low-scoring game, but it's probably going to end up 85 to 87.
We don't trust your predictions. You only tell us what team wins. But somebody pointed this out, and I actually thought it was very funny. It's the same exact situation we had 2 years ago. It's Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos going up against a young quarterback with a great run game.
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. The only different thing is back then, Peyton Manning was on the top of his game and the offense was great. Now Denver's defense is leading the pack, which is going to be interesting to watch because it's a different Denver team. A lot of the same players are there, but it's a different Denver team. Yeah. So that's going to be definitely something to watch. Obviously, everyone's going to be watching it, but hopefully it's a good game. That's all I hope for when the Super Bowl comes around and my team isn't in it.
Speaking of your team, Sheldon Richardson of the New York Jets has pled guilty to his charges against him. I don't know, what were the charges?
The charges...
He had a lot of things wrong with what happened. For those that don't know, Sheldon Richardson was actually in a police chase reaching speeds up to 143 miles an hour. When he was finally pulled over, there was a handgun, marijuana.
Well, they smelled marijuana.
Well, smelled marijuana. I thought they found marijuana.
Oh, they might have, but I believe it was just a smell.
Well, nonetheless, they found a gun, potential marijuana, and a 12-year-old kid in the car.
Well, yeah, there were well, I guess 4 guys in the car in total, including Sheldon Richardson, and one of them was 12 years old.
Wow.
He played guilty to just the speeding kind of thing, and then he would have had to face up to a year in prison if he didn't plead guilty, but he did plead guilty, and he's going to face... The only punishment he's going to get is 2 years of probation or community service, depending on how they duke it out.
The last few things that have gone on with NFL players that have rendered police charges, some of them have kind of been muddled. Like, did he really do anything wrong? Did he do something right? I think this is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
You don't drive almost 150 miles an hour, have a gun in the car,
probably
and run from the cops. You don't do that. I'm sorry. Whatever your position is on weed or guns, you just don't drive 150 miles an hour.
Yeah,
you don't do that.
Yeah. It was not a good situation for anybody to be put in, and he already got suspended earlier this year for having marijuana in his system when they tested him. So he's clearly got problems, but hopefully these 2 years of probation and community service help him out. And clearly he's going to be playing football this year, so I don't know. Hopefully he gets better in that respect. Wish all the best for him, especially since he's on my team. So
some more positive news in the football world. Eagles extend contracts for Brent Selleck, 3 years, $13 million, and Zach Ertz for 5 years, $42 million. They're two tight ends.
Yeah, so the Eagles have secured their tight end game, at least for the next few years. They have got their guys, and that's something a lot of teams can't say because tight ends are very fluid in the National Football League.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Jets don't have a tight end, and considering the Eagles have two guys that can put up consistent numbers, Ertz obviously being the better one of them and the younger one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like this move for the Eagles. The Eagles are moving. They're moving in the right direction. I don't know how far they're going to get, but they're definitely moving in the right direction by doing this.
Yeah, I think to like you said, to not only have a tight end, because a lot of teams, they have good wide receivers, but they have no tight end, so the short pass is kind of tough for them. Mm-hmm. But to have two tight ends, these are guys that could go and grab first downs, grab 10-yard plays that, all right, they're not the deep ball, but it's going to get you down the field.
Oh, yeah, and they're the big bodies to throw out there. I'm sure Selleck is good at blocking.
Yeah. And
to have good blocking guys there as well is very nice.
Yeah, and right now, I think it's fair to say the Eagles are kind of having a quarterback problem with Sam Bradford. Not putting up what people want. So to have good receivers, that might be a little more reassuring. So
to have two guys out there that are surefire, you got if one of them gets hurt, the other one can step up.
Exactly.
It's good to have tight ends. It's good to have depth. It's good that they got these signings done. I like the extensions for these two guys here.
So good move. You could tell.
There haven't been many positive things to say about the Eagles.
Well, I think this is the first positive decision made by the Eagles in a little while.
Yeah, other than maybe
I think it's very interesting to notice it's the first big move from them after Chip Kelly leaves, and it's a very good decision.
Yeah,
kind of tells you something. Sorry, San Francisco. But
yeah, and considering Doug Peterson, the guy who was with the Chiefs for the past few years, came over. And the Chiefs, he made Travis Kelce into this very good tight end. Mm-hmm. Maybe he can make Ertz even better, up Selleck's game. So hopefully it's good for the Eagles. It's good for the Eagles. Something good. Hold on to that.
Talking a little bit of hockey here, the Florida Panthers signed Alexander Barkov to a 6-year, $35 million contract. He was the second overall pick in 2012, I want to say. It was 3 years ago. He's 20 years old. He has, in the last 38 games, he has 30 points. He's coming up strong.
He's a very good player.
I think he's proving himself. So
the Florida right now is leading the Atlantic 28, 15, and 5. I'm very happy about that one.
Well, are you even a Florida fan?
I'm not saying I'm happy. I'm happy about the move. I'm not a Florida fan, Devils fan here, Jersey, but
you're not even a real hockey fan.
Second overall pick, clearly has talent, 30 points through 38 games, so young, 20 years old.
Oh, yeah.
So for a 6-year extension, that only takes him to 26. And for the way these guys can stay healthy and play for a long time in hockey, it's really, look at Yager and all these other guys playing until
I think
55.
Yager was a special case. Some guys just have talent for a very long time. Players like Randy Johnson, Peyton Manning, these guys that could go into some very high ages and still play, but that's not the case for everyone.
Hopefully this guy is, because he's a very exciting player to watch, and the Panthers are probably going to be very happy with him in the future.
All right, moving a little bit into some basketball here. The Cavs fired David Blatt as head coach and promote assistant coach Ty Lue. And I feel very bad for David Blatt.
Last year, done nothing wrong.
Exactly. Last year, he led the Cavs to the NBA Finals. They lost to Golden State, but yet he led them to the Finals.
Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving were both hurt for those Finals, so it's not like LeBron had any other help besides Matthew Dellavedova. Watch out for Delly.
And this year, a 30-11 record. I don't know what head executive said, we're having a problem.
No, you know
what? The problem is David Blatt.
You know what the head executive was? It was LeBron James. LeBron doesn't like, well, apparently didn't like David Blatt, or at least liked Ty Lue better. So, a lot of people, and apparently LeBron didn't know about it, this and that, but LeBron, you're the face of that team. You're the one who gets to pretty much make the decision. If you say something, they're not going to be like, no, LeBron, go home.
You get out of here, mister, making all of our revenue. Yeah,
exactly. So, to fire David Blatt, now, maybe not the smartest decision, but I don't know. He's definitely going to land a job somewhere else.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully with the Brooklyn Nets, maybe? You want to come over here?
I think you guys need a coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, you guys need more to coach.
Apparently, the Nets are looking into him as a coach, so that's very nice. But, to lead a team like that.
With the situation in the Nets, you guys may not need a coach. You may just need Jesus at this point.
They need something. I'm not sure what it is, but they need draft picks. We don't have any of those. Give us some. Somebody.
Yeah. Well, what's that? What's your thing now? You don't have draft picks till what? 2019?
Yeah, it's something like that. We don't have any. We don't control our own draft pick. Some years we don't have a draft pick. We're just gonna wait till 2019 and then see what the Nets are doing.
Oh boy. Well, we move on to our last topic in the sports world. Cespedes.
My boy.
Signed to a 3-year, $75 million contract, coming back to the New York Mets after nearly going to those jerks out in Washington. He's back home once again.
Yeah, I am. Wow, I was floored when I heard about this. Now let me paint the scene for you. All right, all day I was figuring out. Well, I was sitting there.
Because Scott has an unhealthy obsession with baseball. And
I was
guys,
sitting there.
When I tell you, it is scary. Believe me, this man does stats in his own free time.
So I was sitting there, pretty much, on Twitter all day, trying to find out the latest. Ken Rosenthal, Adam Rubin, trying to find out who knows what, this, that. So apparently, it came down to the Mets and Nationals. And then a report comes out, the other teams are in there, and I'm like, oh my god, just pick a team already, I don't care who it is. Well, not the Nationals.
No, I care very much who it is.
And then so, I fall asleep at about 10 o'clock. I wake up, it's about 11. And I wake up to find that, oh wow, the Mets have signed Yoenis Cespedes. And I wake up an hour later and everything changes. It's honestly the best.
The sun came out, the birds started singing. Well, the sun didn't come out, it was a middle of a blizzard. But
it was 11 o'clock at night as well, but it was...
It was a good moment because now we know, finally, you know what, I'll start with saying this. A few years ago, I was a doubter of Sandy Alderson. I said, this man doesn't know what he's doing. He's signing nobodies. What the hell? We're not a good team. We're not going to be a good team because we're not getting out and getting good guys. He changed my mind with the trade deadline last year. Yes. Made some very good decisions, which helped us a long way down. Cespedes being a big part of that. And then now, he proves to us that he's not going to crack under pressure, especially when Cespedes is getting offers from other players. He's not going to crack and say, all right, we'll give you 5 years, and then we get stuck to a...
That's what I like about Alderson. He always gets guys... I forgot who was saying this. I think it was Ed Coleman on the MLB Network. He was saying Alderson always gets guys at his price. He never lets guys go. He never gives them the extra money that they want. The only guy that it maybe ever happened with was Curtis Granderson, who they gave the extra year, but looks like that's going to turn out well.
That doesn't mean anything, because Curtis Granderson has really helped our team, so that's not like we lost anything on that
and consider Cespedes obviously he can opt out after the first year, which he's probably going to do, because if he has a good year, then he's going to opt out, try to get more money elsewhere. I don't really care about that. It's really, of course I would love to have him in the long term, but this move shows a lot in principle. And the principle being that the Mets are actually going to spend money now. Their payroll is about $140 million, which shows that they're actually a team now. They're not
but honestly, this honestly solidifies the spot. In my 17 years of life, 18 years now. Whoa, I'm a big bad man now.
Yeah.
I must say, I never thought I'd be able to utter the words, the Mets are contenders. The Mets are contenders this year.
I never thought, after the trade deadline, I was still iffy, because I was like, okay, we got Cespedes, but we're not in first place. I don't know what's going on.
And Wilmer Forrest was like, I'm going to hit a home run last year. Change the whole dynamic of the team. We're going to kick ass for the second half of the year.
Yeah, but the thing was, last year, okay, I could say that we're contenders halfway through the year, but before a year, in my lifetime, I've never been able to say, in my lifetime, that I've been old enough to say that we're contenders.
Even a month before the trade deadline, we had it was the fair assumption that the season was over.
2 days before the trade deadline.
Scott, I remember we were at a Mets game. It was June 28th. We were watching. There's nobody's on the team. Like John Mayberry Jr. is batting third. Like this team's going nowhere fast. It's been gonna be like the last 6 years.
And the irony is that we saw a doubleheader and they won both games.
But nonetheless, that was when Steven Matz was the debut game. That's a very special game.
He had to provide the offense. And then they were like, okay, maybe we should go out and get some of those hitters. But now you have a very strong pitching rotation now with Zach Wheeler coming back. Yeah, and look at this lineup that you have. This is a major league lineup. We have, all right, let's go from the top. We have Granderson, who had a great year last year.
Who's been solid all this
Walker,
time.
Who's probably better than Murphy,
he's
so you plug him in there.
He's going to be Daniel Murphy, but even more Daniel Murphy.
Without the errors. Daniel Murphy without the errors. So.
Exactly.
And then we got Cespedes, number 3. We all know about Cespedes. Duda at number 4. Constant home run threat. Right. Constant home run threat. Good to put in there. 5, probably Wright. They're going to put Wright in there, who's good as long as he can stay healthy. He's a very good player.
Yeah.
Then we got Conforto,
who I think Michael Conforto really proved himself this year. So
he's going to be a very good player.
I'm very excited to see him play.
Even if he doesn't get to his full potential this year, which I think he won't because it takes a while for players, he's going to get there eventually.
But even if this isn't his full potential, like this isn't even...
We don't need him that much.
Exactly. Like,
we don't need to rely on him.
He's literally playing like, this isn't even my final form. Like, holy shit.
Exactly. So I'm fine with that. And then after that, you got Darno, which like everyone forgets. He's just kind of like...
He's like, I'm going to hit good. I'm going to do good.
I'm going to get injured a little bit, but it's all right. And then after that, you got Asdrubal Cabrera, who's a constant. Everybody in the lineup has a possibility to hit 20 home runs. Now, it's not going to happen that way.
And
but
we all know how well your predictions go, Mr. Green Bay.
No, I never said they're going to, but I don't know. It was very... we have a good lineup. We have a good rotation. I've never been able to say that they're World Series contenders except for this offseason. And this will be the offseason that they're going to win 80 games.
So trying to salvage some sense of... neutrality in our broadcast.
Some unbiased.
Some fair, neutral observers. We are very passionate fans, and we are very passionate sports fans. But to put a cap on this, that's all from the sports world for this weekend. A very exciting weekend, I would say.
Yeah, you got the NFL games, of course. Next week we're going to have no NFL because that's... God-awful Pro Bowl.
So there goes half of our show. So probably going to be a lot shorter. We'll tell you that much.
We'll create some news of our own.
We will create our own sports games. That's all we're going to say.
We're going to play stickball in the backyard and tell you guys how it goes.
Exactly. But until then, see you in the cheap seats, guys.